verse 10, for there are many unruly and vain talkers and deceivers, specifically they of the circumcision. Titus chapter 1 and verse 10. Vain talkers means empty chatterers. There are certain Christians, perhaps you know some, who are rather frothy of the mouth, and they just talk a blue streak. I rode once with a man for 200 miles, and from the moment I got in his car until I got out, the only thing I had to do was grunt, and he would keep on talking. If you had added up all he had to say, it was just a great big bag of nothing and a whole lot of hot air. There are many empty talkers. It is all right to have fun and be light-hearted, but what Paul is condemning is constant chattering with nothing but empty words. Deceivers, specifically they of the circumcision, Paul is referring to those who were seeking to contradict his teaching. Verse 11, whose mouths must be stopped, who subvert whole houses, teaching things which they ought not, for filthy lucre's sake. Titus chapter 1 and verse 11. Who subvert whole houses means to overthrow whole families. This was very serious. Everywhere the word of God is sown, the devil gets in. He's the enemy, and he always sows tares among the wheat. I have found this to be true in my own experience. I was back east one time in an area in which our radio program is heard. Again, that's McGee and not me. We are reaching multitudes there, and many have come to Christ. But while I was there, I learned that our broadcast is immediately followed by the broadcast of one of the cults. The speaker on that program attempted to correct my teaching of the Bible. The devil always gets in. Similarly, a great work of Christ had been done in Crete, but the enemy was right there to sow his own seed. I remember when I was going to the nursing home in Jamestown, Fair Oaks, there was a bunch of Carmelites came in after me and told the poor little girls that they were going to go to hell if they came out and listened to me preach. Well, the next week I had like 2 or 3 of them show up. Eventually, we had worked it out where I probably had 45 of those little residents in the service every Sunday. Thanks to Mom helping me, her and Dad would go out and get them and wheel them in. And so I appreciate that. There was a lot of amens and a lot of enjoyment there. And I really broke my teeth on preaching to those people. I really enjoyed it. Verse 12, one of themselves, even a prophet of their own, said, the Cretians are always liars, evil beasts, slow bellies. Titus chapter 1 and verse 12. Evil beasts means the Cretians are rude and cruel. Slow bellies means lazy gluttons. Paul is not being very complimentary here, is he? But this is the reputation they had in the Roman world on Paul's day. It might be like on the Pirates of the Caribbean, where they went into an island, and how that's how I'm thinking Crete is. Paul is quoting a Grecian poem, Epimenides, who was born in Crete several centuries earlier. Another poet wrote Crete, which 100 cities doth maintain, cannot deny this, though to lying given. Paul said Cretians are always liars. This does not mean that everybody who lives in Crete was a liar any more than when you say that all Scottish people are tight-fisted. Some are very generous, but the Cretians had the general reputation of being liars. It is marvelous that the grace of God can do and did do among the people of Crete. They were liars, beastly, lazy people who were big eaters. Many of them turned to Christ and their lives were changed. And that concludes that section. Now we We're going to move on to